And we welcome all of you to this 2024 Boys Basketball FCIAC Championship Preview. I'm Rob Adams, joined by my co-host tonight, Mike Buswell. And Mike, you've lined up a great group of guests for us. Let's dive right in. We've got two on the line right now, including a good friend, John Dailey, who has joined us, the head coach from Ludlowe. And John, happy to welcome you in as well.
Thanks, Rob. Appreciate it, and great to be here.
Great to have you, Mike. Exciting game tomorrow night.
Yeah, I think it's a really great storyline, and I think it was a storyline that would be, really fascinating for people to hear. So obviously Colin Devine and Buddy Bray coaching together at Trumbull High, chasing Buddy Bray's illustrious FCIAC title, that he's been searching for. And then Dave Goldshore down at Staples High, somebody, who's a dear friend of all of ours, coached with us at Staples. Actually, we brought David on staff over at Staples. And, when it was time for Colin to retire from Staples and move on to try to, get into the athletic director world, and, that's something he's working on now, we all, had strong recommendations for Dave to take over the Staples program. So, fast forward into David's second season. It's his second trip to the FCIAC final. Coming in second last year to Danbury, and also making a run to Mohegan Sun and taking the Wreckers all the way up to Battle St. Bernard last year in the Division 2 state finals. So I think it's a great storyline. Colin coming back to help Buddy Bray this year, sort of a last minute addition. Buddy kind of, asked him, hey, if you're around, maybe you want to come by for a game or two or help with some practices. Well, if you guys know anything about Colin, that meant, 7 days a week. So,
exactly.
And here we have it tomorrow night, Wilton Fieldhouse, number 2 Trumbull against number 4 Staples. And obviously two coaching staffs that are very familiar with each other, as well as two teams.
We'll work Coach Goldshore in a moment, but John, I want to start with you. This season has been, as always, every year in the FCIAC, it's interesting. It's a battle. Help me preview tomorrow night. How do you look at this game?
Well, I think it has all the makings to be a classic. I really do. I think both teams are very similar in a few ways here. You talk about, number one, both teams have a lot of spurt ability. What I mean by that is they can score in bunches, they can score quickly. Trumbull has a number of outside shooters, weapons on the perimeter. They get out and love to run. They're great in transition. You got to get back on makes and misses. Staples, obviously, with a number of shooters as well. We all know about Clacko having 40 last night. A team that passes the basketball very, very well, makes great reads, very unselfish. And then I think you look at the lack of a low post presence on both teams as well. Although you have a guy like Sean Wilson who can play down low and defend 1 through 5. And you have a guy like Nick Sikorsky and also Caleb Smith who both play out in the perimeter and inside as well, and can defend multiple positions. And then I think too, what's maybe a little underrated in this situation is both teams have guys that have a lot of experience in big games. Okay, you look at Owen Bull, back-to-back FCIAC championships, obviously a high-level soccer player going to Yale. You look at Caleb Smith, won a state football championship this year. And then you look at a guy like Ryan Johnson, who's a Division I signee at Seton Hall. You look at Adam Udell, who's going to go play lacrosse at Michigan, also played on back-to-back lacrosse championship teams at Staples. So these guys were built for this moment tomorrow night. And I think, them having that experience will pay dividends, and they can impart that composure to their teammates. And then you look finally at the coaching staffs, both tremendous head coaches. And like Mike alluded to with this storyline here with Buddy Bray, 34 years as a head coach at Trumbull. He's been to one final, chasing his first FCIAC championship. You look at Coach Goldshore, this is going to be his third championship game in the last 2 years. This is the second time in the FCIAC championship, back-to-back years, also went to the state finals. So these are two great storylines, both very deserving coaches and great coaches, but also great people.
And I looked at the history and the fact that Trumbull has not won an FCIAC title in over 40 years. and Staples hasn't won a title since 1962, at least in the research I was doing. I love all this, Mike. This just sets up for such a great night.
It is, Rob. I mean, listen, you love, everyone loves a favorite, a Patriots or a Ridgefield type basketball, and you'll have your people that follow that program. But sometimes it's nice to have a matchup that you don't normally see with some storylines. I think these are two very competitive teams, and it really just makes for a great night of basketball because it's, even though each team is very good, it's a little unpredictable, right? It's not like, oh well, East Catholic is going to win Division I again, or this team's going to win. It's two teams that are there, and we're going to see what they do offensively, defensively, and how they're going to attack this game.
Yeah, and I have no idea what to expect, except I'm thrilled to be the guy that gets to call the play-by-play tomorrow night. And I'll bring in Coach Goldshore as well. And Dave, my first question for you, other than just to congratulate you, because I didn't get the chance to talk to you last night, how did you turn that around? Because you're trying to get things going against Ridgefield, and then you guys exploded. What happened last night?
Yeah, first of all, I just want to say, Mike, thanks for setting this up. This is like, before I even answer that question, this is like a complete honor for me. Rob, first of all, like working with you back when I was coaching the 12U district team and just doing that game, and then obviously having my mentor on this call too with Colin, and just I am who I am as a basketball coach, I think, as a function of Mike and Colin and John. Congratulations to you on winning Coach of the Year. This is an awesome experience for me, so thank you. Last night was interesting. We kind of felt out the game a little bit early, and when you feel it out against a team like Ridgefield, like they just kind of take advantage. And we are young in regards to grade level of our team. Lost a lot of seniors last year, and the moment was kind of big for us early. And then I think, to be honest with you, I think going on that 9-0 run to end the half was really, really big, and it was started with our defense. We got out in transition a little bit. We were struggling to score in the half court like Ridgefield does to you. And then we got out in transition. And then to go down into the locker room at 27-25, feeling like we got outplayed for 3/4 of the first half, I think gave the kids a tremendous amount of confidence going into the second half. So, and then from there, it was, shooting is contagious from my perspective. And Glacko came out and hit a couple early, and then Sikorsky hit one, and then Caleb hit one, and then and our defense picked up. Usually, we always talk about like both sides of the ball being married to one another, and when you're hitting shots, your defense tends to be more intense, and it just kind of steamrolled a little bit there, Rob.
Mike, why don't you bring in Colin, because I know how well you know him, so I'll let you handle the introduction there.
So, Colin, I greatly appreciate you filling in for Buddy. And Rob, we asked Buddy Bray to be on the call tonight, but Buddy's with his team. They have a pasta party. And if anyone knows Buddy, he was not going to turn down being with his team and being in that moment. So they had a team event planned. And first of all, I just want to say what a great job Buddy's done this year. And then to be able to watch Colin jump on the staff and see those two coach together. Not a lot of people realize that Colin and I played for Buddy, and Colin was actually a captain at Trumbull High for Buddy Bray. So to be able to see them right now from a different perspective, me sitting in the stands watching them coach together, it's really special for me. So Colin, thank you so much for jumping on the staff and doing a great job with the Eagles, but also for filling in for Buddy tonight and being able to serve as Trumbull's representative, as I would say. So thanks for coming.
Thanks for having me on. And Rob, thanks for all you do for high school sports and youth sports. You do a great job. And it's really a pleasure to be with you guys. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Colin. Appreciate it. From your perspective, you guys were down a little bit early on to Danbury. How did you guys fire it up and get to tomorrow night? How did it happen?
Well, I think I could just echo exactly what Coach Goldshore just said. It wasn't exactly a mirror image of our game versus their game, but we were down. Coach Bray does a great job just staying calm and instilling confidence in our players. And we played so poorly on offense. We shot 2 of our first 18 shots, but played great defense, great rebounding, 5 against the basketball. Same thing Staples did last night when they're down 20-10. And I thought that was the key for us going into the third quarter, knowing exactly Johnson makes a couple shots. Then we get a sophomore off the bench. Jaden makes a couple shots. Then DeMarco makes a couple shots. So shooting is contagious, but I think the key for both Staples and Trumbull last night was keeping their composure and 5 against the ball on defense.
Mike, I'll throw it up to you. Go ahead.
Yeah, so for both guys, and I'll start with Dave. We talked a lot about, our relationship and how all of us know each other, but tomorrow night is really about the boys and the players, right? And that's who really got everybody here, right? Everyone can be a great coach, but the kids need to perform, and they need to perform when the ball's tossed up. So Dave, I wanted to ask you a little bit, and I know when people see the box scores, they see Sam Clacko, Adam Udell, Caleb Smith. I want you to talk to me a little bit about your core, the chemistry, and a little bit about some of those players that you feel, everyone helped you get there, but some of those players to, just to name a few.
Yeah, listen, it's hard to look at last night and not have Sam just kind of pop out on the screen. He had an unbelievable night. I think Sam's a very passionate kid, especially when it comes to his performance, and he struggled in last year's final against Danbury. And he said to me before the game, he said, like, Coach, I'm going to give you a great performance tonight. So he was very locked in from the moment he stepped into that field house. But he's a sophomore, but he played real starter minutes last year for us, so he doesn't kind of play like a sophomore. So if you look at the top of last night's, it's hard to not notice his 40. I will say this though, Udell's performance last night was special. He had 15 points, 10 assists, 8 rebounds, almost had a triple-double. Is in my opinion as good of a two-way player as this league has. Sets our tempo. We always kind of talk to him as being like the head of the snake, because he kind of sets our tempo both defensively and offensively. So he was also phenomenal last night. And then, we got like a glue guy with Mason Tobias, who kind of is that glue between our two guards and our two bigs. And then to echo what Rob said, and actually echo what other people talked about today, was just how tough Caleb and Nick were with the bigs from Ridgefield last night, and just making it hard for them to convert on some of those quote unquote easy baskets they had. So it's a group that cares about each other. It's a group that lost 9 seniors, I think has a little bit of a chip on their shoulder in regards to what they want to do this year. But it's been pretty special.
No, I incredible job. And I've watched Caleb Smith as a football player, so I've certainly had the privilege of watching him against Greenwich and the things he has done to the Cardinals. He's a pretty remarkable ball player. And Colin, on your side, the calm and just the demeanor of that team to get it all back together. Who are the key players that kind of got things going last night?
Well, first, I want to say I want to be asked a question first, because Dave says everything I want to say. So it's a credit to coach and the coach speak. But really, last night,
who did I learn from? What was I? What's
Jim Calhoun, because everything I said, it was from Coach Calhoun. So anyway, seriously though, we have great senior leadership, just like Dave does. And, Brandon Fowler really controls the floor for us. He keeps us calm. He listens to Coach Bray every time out. Like John Dailey said this greatly, that Owen Bowl is a champion in other sports. Ryan Johnson's Division I baseball player. I think underratedly, Sean Wilson and Brian Elmo provide such great defense, which keeps us in the game and keeps us calm, because we know we can get stops. And I think that settles down our offense. If we, God forbid, take a bad shot or miss a good shot, we know that we're going to defend and rebound. Obviously, Ryan Johnson got hot in the third quarter, and that was contagious. Joey DeMarco might be the best, in my opinion, the best 6th man in the league. He comes off the bench, hits some threes, plays some good defense, shares the basketball. And we got a great contribution from Jaden, our sophomore, last night as well.
I will ask the question this time, Mike, and I will go to Colin first. What would tomorrow night's championship mean to you guys?
Well, first and foremost, your father is your mentor, and you look up to a man and you respect and you want to be just like him. And Coach Bray is second to my father in that regard, because he just epitomizes everything what's right about high school sports. It's education-based athletics. He cares about the kids, the families, to making sure that they're studying. He calls their coaches, their teachers. And he set an example for Mike and I, 25 years ago. And he coached Gary Johnston, who's Ryan's father, in 1992. And I think that's the part that sometimes gets missed with great coaches over a period of time. Coach Bray was a great player at UB, great player at Trumbull High, but he's a Hall of Fame person and a Hall of Fame coach. And I think having coach to have the opportunity, which is well-deserved, to win a championship would be great for coach, his family, and the Trumbull High community.
All right, Dave, what would it mean to Staples?
This is a hard one for me because, there is a lot of history with what Coach Bray, and I know what Colin means to, what Coach Bray means to Colin, and sure is what Colin meant to me. So, it's like it's a very difficult question for me to ask. Obviously, winning after losing the state championship and the FCIAC would mean a lot, and winning the game a lot. I want both teams to play great. Right. I just want both teams to play great. And whatever happens at the end of the day, if both teams work hard and the score is the score, obviously want to be on top. I'd be lying to you if it wouldn't mean a lot to me. Right. Just as competitive as anybody else is on that call. But I have a lot of respect, first of all, for the guy who really kind of, has taught me almost everything I know about basketball, who's to my right on the screen. And then his mentor, who is as generous and thoughtful and complimentary of all the work that everybody does that I've ever met, and in this league for sure, and for someone who has been in it for as long as he has. So maybe we'll just end in a tie and we'll all go celebrate afterwards.
I will tell you, as the guy who gets to do the play-by-play, I hope you have me on the edge of my seat tomorrow night. I hope you both of you do. Mike, I'll throw it back to you.
So I know Dave mentioned the maybe it'll end in a tie, but I think what's special about both of these programs, right? Both head coaches, Buddy Bray, Dave Goldshore, and both assistants, on both coaching staffs, these guys are very competitive people, right? And they get up ready to dominate the day. And, working with Dave in a professional environment, coaching basketball with him, Colin's been my best friend since second grade. I mean, these guys play for keeps. Rob, we talk about all the time, what's it take to be a good FCIAC football team, basketball team, baseball, like nice guys finish last, right? I mean, these guys want to rip each other's hearts out, and it's tough when the heart you're trying to rip out is a friend of yours. But I'll tell you what, if there were two teams that were going to be in the final, I'd want it to be Trumbull and Staples. And if it wasn't one of them, I'd want it to be John Dailey and Fairfield Ludlowe. And a lot of people don't realize John Dailey played, growing up. John played at Fairfield High against Colin and I. John was a year ahead of us. So, even for somebody like John, for jumping on this call and kind of getting the call going for us, John coaching in his hometown, Fairfield, and leading the Ludlowe team and winning FCIAC Coach of the Year. I mean, you're not going to get three better coaches on the call than these guys tonight. But Rob, make no mistake about it. I mean, they will throw their mother in front of a bus if it took winning tomorrow.
John, I'll throw it back to you. Is there an X factor in this game in your mind?
I think it comes down to the defense. I know Colin over there, and obviously Coach Goldshore. They've got some talent, great guard play, but in the end of the day, it's going to come down to defense, especially in a game like this where emotions run high. Can't really control sometimes, how well you shoot it, but you can control your toughness, your ability to defend and rebound and take charges, value the basketball. But I think in the end of the day, it's going to come down to how Trumbull defends guys like Clacko, especially after last night's 40. Udell, who's such a dynamic guard and does a great job of running the offense. And then, Staples on the other side, getting back in transition, trying to take away Trumbull's ability to run, getting out on shooters, not letting a guy like Sean Wilson, get underneath the foul line and score down low. So it's going to be interesting. It's going to be a, punch, counter punch type night. But I think in the end of the day, I think the defense is going to win out.
Does the crowd, does emotion play any role in this? And I'm going to throw it open to all of you.
I can't relate because I haven't been there. The farthest I've gotten is the semi, but I was going to actually ask Coach Goldshore and Coach Devine, take us through your practice today. How were the kids? How were the emotions? And what was your message at the end of practice? To the kids. There's one big thing you can say on the eve of playing for an FCIAC championship. I'm curious what you had to say.
Colin, go ahead. You first.
Well, basically, I'm sure it was the same message because Dave knows what we do and we know what Dave does. Trumbull knows what Staples and Staples knows Trumbull. So I'm pretty sure that it was more about defense, rebounding, and toughness. So John Dailey's got us pegged right. We know exactly what we have to do tomorrow, and if the shots aren't falling, we got to defend, rebound, get down the break, and get as many possessions for both Staples and Trumbull as possible.
Dave?
Yeah, and I'll just say, like, word has it that the game's sold out tomorrow night or close to sold out tomorrow night. So what that means is that it's really like a player-led game. You know, I'm very loud, as everyone on this call knows, on the sideline, but it's hard for them to hear us. So it's going to be, you know, their ability to make decisions in crucial moments and allowing them just to play. You know, we try to dictate as much as we can in a game like that, but you know, they're going to have to make plays. You know, our practice was really very light today. You know, coming off of the emotions of last night, and you know, just making sure that kids got some shots up, and we talked philosophically. We watched some film, but the key message was just play. You know, these are opportunities that don't come around very often, and we're all fortunate to be in them. And you know, just play as hard as you can for 32 minutes, and whatever happens at the end of the day on the scoreboard is going to be a function of that. And if we can do that, we've accomplished our goal.
So does the crowd at Dave, in your mind, or the atmospheres that play any role in tomorrow night?
I mean, it does. You know, my experience last year in the game was, you really don't have a lot. You know, you lose as a coach. You kind of lose control of the minute by minute, second by second of what's going on the floor, and you can try to hold up signs or try to get set up, but the end of the day, like both of us are very good in transition. Both of us are rely on our defense. And both of us rely on our shooting in order to be successful. So it's going to be about the 10 kids on the floor that are competing against each other, making plays.
Is there anything you would go back and do? You know, have you thought about last year? Do you think, oh, I should have done this, shouldn't have done this? You know, do you look at this tomorrow night in a different way because you were there last year? Does anything stick out?
You know, I think last year was obviously a first year, and again, I have to give Colin a lot of credit for last year. He was, you know, very instrumental in guiding me through just everything that I need to go through as a first year coach, and that was you know, incredibly important for me. Yeah, if there's anything that I would say that you know, so going through last year and beating Ridgefield in the semifinals, not that I think we were happy to be there, but I think that it was a newness of it that was new, right? This year, you know, would I want that game back? Of course, right? Like, you always want an opportunity to win a championship, a game. Maybe I would have changed up some defenses at times or changed tempo at moments of the game. I mean, there are 1,000 things you could look at going back into the game. I think, you know, I think some of our key opponents have another year of experience, and hopefully that translates to tomorrow night.
Mike?
So the one thing that I wanted to talk to Dave and Colin about, so Rob, when I was working with David, we started off coaching baseball against each other. You know, programs, like he was the head of Westport youth baseball, me doing the Trumbull thing. So we would communicate regularly on a youth baseball standpoint and pipelines to the high school and things of that nature, right? When Dave told me his basketball background and being a manager at the University of Michigan during the Fab Five era, like, you know, that obviously gravitated because that was my childhood. So, you know, we started really getting into basketball type conversations. And the ironic thing about tomorrow night, one of Trumbull's best players is Ryan Johnston. Dave has a son at Staples who's in 11th grade who now only plays baseball, but he played a lot of youth basketball for Westport Pal or YMCA, whatever team it was. And Dave was the coach of that team. And Dave coached against Ryan Johnston and a handful of these Trumbull kids for a number of years. And I remember being in the conference room with him one time, and he wasn't happy after the weekend. He goes, I can't slow this Ryan Johnston down. I go man-to-man against him. I go boxing one. He goes, I got to figure out a way to beat this St. Teresa Trumbull team because I can figure out almost any other team in the league, but this team gives me fits. So I think the ironic thing here is 6, 7 years later, all these kids who were in 5th, 6th grade are now sophomores, juniors, seniors in high school. A lot of the same faces on the sideline, a lot of the same faces on the court. So Dave, I guess my question is, after all these years, what's your thought process on slowing down Ryan Johnston?
As long as Gary's not in the gym tomorrow, everything's going to be fine. I listen. He's a great kid. I've had the opportunity to compete and coach against him for years. He's and Colin and I have talked about this numerous of times, even before Colin started working with Buddy. Like he just is a great leader. He's a winner. And he's similar. He kind of reminds me a lot of Udell. They're both very similar in regards to. It was funny that Coach Dailey made that analogy about like guys who played on other winning sports. They're both incredibly tough. They have a high desire to win. And I guarantee you that if you see two dogs tomorrow night, it's going to be Ryan and Adam. Listen, he's not easy to stop. And you just got to mix up looks on him and just continue to make him play both sides of the ball as much as you possibly can and wear him down if you can. But when push came to shove, as I'm sure Colin alluded to earlier, when his basket at 22-13 to cut that lead to 6 last night just kind of, I think, calmed everybody down, which he does, just like Udell's run going into the first half, to calm everybody down. It sure as heck calmed me down. So guys like that, you're never going to really stop. You just, you try to just continue to put pressure on them and see how it goes. Will
you get sleep tonight?
0, but either will Colin, I think, so it won't matter. We haven't slept in 3.5 months, either one of us. We never have. I can't tell you how many conversations the two of us have had over the last 7 years at 3:30 in the morning about something that we're trying to figure out. Are you up? Are you up? Are you up? Are you up? Yes, we're all up. We're all up.
I know it's a game at a time, so I know the focus is tomorrow night, but the state brackets came out today. Have you guys looked? Have you even started thinking about it?
I'll go to Kyle. Kyle, what have you guys looked and started thinking about, or what?
I believe we have a bye in the first round, and we play the winner of Newington Ward. But no, I watched 22 of Staples films the last 48 hours, so I'm one day at a time. But I know we have a tough Newington team coming to Trumbull, or Ward coming to Trumbull High in the second round.
Well, and for us, after having the privilege of going against the number 2 ranked Eagles on tomorrow night, we get the luxury of going up to East Catholic and play East Catholic in the first round. They're only the 18th time defending champion of Division I. So, listen, our focus is on Trumbull. Obviously, but I would be remiss if I didn't check out the bracket and see kind of how, see who we had in the first round. We draw East Catholic. It was an honor to make that run last year and to stay in Division I. And I think with our record and last night's performance, I think we've deserved the right to continue to play in that tournament, and I'm excited about that. But again, my focus is on tomorrow night.
Absolutely. I know a guy who is focusing on the playoffs in the state. That's John Dailey. John, what are you looking at?
We host Killingly on Tuesday night. And I think they are flying down from Providence down to Sikorsky Airport in Stratford. They got a charger. They are approximately probably school bus 2 hours away. They couldn't be any further from Fairfield. So we like the draw, but our guys got to play. We got to make shots. We got to defend, all the things we kind of been talking about here tonight about tomorrow night. And if we can get by Killingly in the first round, we travel to a very good Wilby team in round 2 out of Waterbury in the NVL. So we're pumped. We were pumped to get in the FCIAC tournament. Unfortunately, we got beat in the first round there Saturday night, but our focus shifts to the state tournament, hopefully making a run in Division III.
Mike, we're running out of time, but help me wrap this up.
Well, I think when you guys talk about the state tournament, I think the FCX schedule weathers you, right, and really prepares you for runs in the state tournament. And I know sometimes you get a more favorable matchup than others, but I went to the Trumbull Staples game this year down at Staples, and Staples put on a very nice presentation where they gave Colin a plaque for his years of service down there. Colin's family was there, Buddy was there, obviously taking pictures with Colin. It was a nice moment for Dave, Colin, and Buddy. That game was very competitive. I think Trumbull pulled away, maybe won by 14-15, but I think that the first 3.5 quarters, that was a 2-point game, 4-point game, back and forth. Trumbull pulled away a little bit at the end, and then you get, into the fouls and get into the free throw line, expands the lead a little bit. But that Trumbull Staples game was a great battle earlier in the year. And John, what I'll say to you is I was at the Trumbull Ludlowe game, and I was very impressed with your team. I thought that you were long. I thought that you were tough. I thought you had a player on the court that had the ability to be the best player at any given moment. And I told John after the game, I said, John, listen, you have a good team. And, if you can, find a way to, get out of that first and second round, you can make a real run because you have the ability with the type of players that you have on your team, to really do some damage when you face some teams maybe outside the FCIAC. I think that's what you've seen over the years with these FCIAC teams. John mentioned playing Wilby. The FCIAC has had some success in recent years as lower seeds going in and knocking off an NVL team or a team from maybe the ECC. So, I wish all these guys the best of luck, obviously Colin and Dave tomorrow night, but also in the state tournament.
Yeah, thanks, Mike.
Guys, I'm excited. The FCIAC Championship is always special. I've had such great fun calling the game so many times. There's something extra special about this one tomorrow night, and I'm so appreciative of Colin and Dave for coming on tonight, and to Mike for setting this up. Wish you guys the best of luck. It's going to be a lot of fun.
Thanks, Rob.
Thanks, guys. Thanks, Rob.
Good luck, guys.
It's
Thanks,
a
JD.
great one, and we appreciate it. Mike, I'm looking forward to it.
I can't. I don't know if I'm going to be able to sleep much, but what I will say to the guys on the call that are coaching, enjoy the moment. Obviously, you don't get there every year, and you've done tremendous jobs with your team. So, be the last 2 teams standing in the FCIAC is an incredible honor, and go enjoy the moment with your team, the players, the parents, the cheerleaders, your school. So you've done well, and just go out there and lay it all on the line. Best of luck to both of you guys.
Thanks, Mike.
Thanks,
for setting this
Mike.
up.
Thank you very much.
Yeah, great
Anytime.
job. Great job by Mike Buswell. And thank you all for joining us. And thanks to John Dailey, Dave Goldshore, Colin Devine. For these guys, I'm Rob Adams. The FCIAC Championship is tomorrow night at 7 at Wilton High School. Come out and support the kids if you can get a ticket, or watch it. We'll have the broadcast on YouTube with the video, the audio on Robcasting Radio. That'll do it for this 2024 FCIAC Boys Basketball Championship preview. Enjoy the game, everyone. Have a good night.